So this review probably isn't going to be too long, just kind of my overall thoughts on last week's episode of Supergirl and this week's episode. This week the show really did kind of kickstart the current plotline. I guess it felt like the last couple episodes since the show came back from hiatus were kind of setting up the big plotline, kind of just giving us tiny stories every week, I guess, leading up to the big plotline, which is happening now, obviously, with Nyxly and Mxyzptlk's back and all that sort of stuff. We also got a lot of stuff on the Lena Luthor plotline and where they're kind of heading with that. But real quickly before getting into this review, I just want to ask if you can subscribe if you're not already. I make DC and Marvel videos every single week, so new subscribers really do help to keep up the motivation to make new videos. But I wasn't entirely crazy about the direction the show was heading after the mid-season. It felt like it was definitely much more kind of small stake, small scale episodes the show was focusing on. But I kind of thought about how the episodes were sort of focusing on a duo every episode, but they'd also kind of really were character development episodes. Like it did feel like we were kind of getting little bits of development on certain characters before the show ended. Like the first episode after the mid-season very much focused on Kara and Zor-El. The next episode focused a lot on Kara and Jean. Last week's episode focused on Kara and Brainy, which there was a lot of great stuff in the Kara and Brainy stuff. And we also have gotten a lot of development for Kelly, and then this episode seemed to focus a lot on Lena. So it really does feel like they're kind of going through the cast of characters and kind of giving each character something to do before the show ends. Nia also has gotten a good few stuff to do over the course of the last couple episodes, so it was really cool to see that. One thing I also am loving about this half of the season is that they're really focusing on Kara being a public hero and being somebody who doesn't just fight supervillains. Like, she's very much a face in National City. It's different to how the Arrowverse portrays the Flash or portrays Green Arrow or portrays the Legends or Batwoman, you know, really any of the heroes other than like Superman, I guess. But even Superman, we didn't see a whole lot of that in his show. We saw it here or there, but Supergirl is taking that and really pushing it up, where she's doing promos for the Super Friends, she's on social media, she's playing basketball with people. It's really good, and I really like how they're doing it. It seems like they really are setting it up so that we're going to hear about Supergirl a lot in the other shows once her show ends. Like, we'll always hear about how Supergirl's giving an interview or how Supergirl's on the cover of a Catco magazine, a lot of stuff like that, and I do love it. I really wish, honestly, Flash would do something more like this. Flash tried it a couple times, but they never really did anything big with it. Definitely not to the extent that Supergirl is doing it. And we've gotten a lot of kind of progress on Kelly becoming Guardian. Not really this week, but last week definitely, especially when she was sparring with Alex. And we got kind of references to the season 1 stuff that Alex and Kara used to do training-wise. And next week is when I think she's going to suit up properly, or, well, we kind of know she's going to suit up properly next week, because next week is the Diggle episode. They've kind of been talking about this one for a while, in that it's really going to be Kelly kind of suiting up. So I think next week is going to be the big character-focused episode for Kelly. Probably some Kelly and Supergirl duo stuff, which I'm really looking forward to. I think that's going to be a really great kind of path for her character. I'm also really interested if Kelly pops up in the Arrowverse once Supergirl ends. I think Superman and Lois would be a really interesting place for Kelly to show up, mainly because Jimmy Olsen in the Arrowverse is one of Superman's best friends. I mean, not just in the Arrowverse, in kind of every interpretation of the characters, Jimmy Olsen is called Superman's best pal. Now, we know from Superman and Lois that Lana Lang is Superman's best pal in this universe, but Jimmy Olsen is always kind of up there. So I think it'd be really interesting if Kelly Olsen, who's Jimmy's sister, showed up as a hero on Superman and Lois every now and then, kind of continuing on that Superman's best pal sort of thing. But this episode very much focused on Lena, and I actually really did enjoy the Lena stuff for the most part. It's kind of cool where they're taking her character. We've kind of known from set photos and stuff like that for a while that there was going to be magic and witchcraft involved in Lena's character. One thing that really did piss me off about this episode were the Irish accents. That they went up north and there were Irish accents and they were absolutely terrible. Like, some of the worst I have ever heard. I just don't know why, when American TV shows and American movies are casting people for Irish accents, that they don't just cast Irish actors and Irish actresses. Like, there's got to be actual Irish people out there that would have been up in Vancouver at this time that they could have cast for these roles, rather than, I don't know, picking a random American actor or a random actor who's not Irish and just being like, do your best Irish accent. Because they sounded terrible. They did not sound like how any Irish person I've ever heard sounds. So yeah, I mean, obviously that's going to just be annoying for me, more so than people who aren't Irish and watching this show. But I feel like that, I don't know. It's just a little frustrating, but the Lena plotline in general was really interesting and really fun this episode. I enjoyed it. Just, yeah, you know, he could have done something different there. It was good to have Mxyzptlk back and singing a song, which, I mean, it wouldn't be a Supergirl episode with Mxyzptlk if he didn't sing some kind of song, which I heard that David Harewood, who plays John Jones, was absolutely loving that on set. Like, he couldn't get enough of it. But it was really interesting to see that. It was really cool to see kind of all of the team suit up and fight almost against Nyxly, which we haven't gotten a whole lot of the entire team, Kara included, suiting up this season, especially since Melissa Benoist was kind of away from the rest of the cast for a lot of the first half of the season. So it was really, really fun to see all that. They also had a bunch of like really cool magical creatures this episode, like the dragon, like the kitty, which I really, really, really enjoyed. I think Supergirl is at its best when it gets really wacky and really kind of comic book out there, because that felt like a very comic book thing to do, is that there's a team of heroes, they have to fight like a huge magical kitten, they have to fight like a huge magical dragon, a fifth dimensional imp, all that sort of stuff felt very, very, very comic booky, and that is to me when Supergirl is at its best. And also when they're having Kara be a forefront and be like a very public hero, like the way they've been portraying her. But yeah, I was a little worried about where the show was heading in the second half after the first episode or the second episode, but I do really like what they're doing now. I think that the show is going to probably go out on a high note. I think they're really setting up all of the characters to kind of end exactly where they are now, in the same spot, kind of almost, where the show is going to end with an adventure continue sort of thing, leaving the door wide open for characters to appear. Then, like, sure, we already know that Alex is going to be appearing in the Flash Armageddon event, so yeah. But I really enjoyed the episode. I'm not sure how regular Supergirl reviews are going to be from next week on, because I start college again next week, and it's going to be like full-time every day, so it's going to be very hard to kind of do regular reviews. So it'll probably just be maybe a review for the final, a review for the season, some rankings, stuff like that. But how did you feel about the episode? Did you like it? Did you hate it? And if you enjoyed this video, please remember to like, share, subscribe, and all of that, and I hope you have a great day.